You might think leaving apples at room temperature is all they need to stay fresh. After all, that's how we often see them sitting in a fruit bowl at home. But the truth is, that habit could make them lose their crispness and flavor much faster than you expect. In this video, I'll show you a few small but important notes and the right methods to keep your apples fresh and delicious for much longer. When it comes to keeping apples fresh for as long as possible, the process actually starts before you even store them. It starts with choosing the right apples. Look for apples with smooth, unbroken skin. They should feel firm to the touch, not soft or spongy. Avoid any fruit with bruises, scratches, or dark spots. Why? Because a single damaged apple can spoil much faster. And worse, it can speed up the decay of the apples around it. It's like that old saying, one bad apple can ruin the bunch, and in this case, it's literally true. Another key thing to remember: don't wash your apples before long-term storage. I know it's tempting to rinse them right after bringing them home, but moisture left on the skin can actually encourage mold to grow and shorten their shelf life. Instead, keep them dry while they're stored. Only wash them right before you're ready to eat or cook with them. That way, you're giving your apples the best chance to stay crisp, juicy, and full of flavor for weeks. If you plan to eat your apples within just 2 to 5 days, keeping them at room temperature is perfectly fine. But there are still a few important things to check to make sure they stay in good shape. First, give your apples a quick inspection. If you notice any moisture on the skin, gently pat them dry with a clean cloth. Even a small amount of excess moisture can encourage mold growth or cause the skin to wrinkle sooner than it should. Next, think about where you're placing them. Apples like a dry, well-ventilated spot, away from direct sunlight, or heat sources like your oven. A bright kitchen window might look beautiful, but that extra warmth and light will make your apples lose their crispness faster. You can keep them in a fruit basket or right on your countertop for easy access. But here's something a lot of people don't realize: don't store them right next to ripe bananas, pears, or other fruit that produce high levels of ethylene gas. Ethylene is a natural plant hormone that speeds up ripening, and while that might be great for softening a rock-hard avocado, it's bad news for apples you want to keep fresh. Over just a couple of days, that gas can cause apples to lose their firmness and flavor. So if you're storing your apples at room temperature, remember, keep them dry, keep them cool, and keep them away from ethylene-producing fruit. That way, you can enjoy their crunch and sweetness right up until the last bite. If you want to keep your apples fresh for much longer without them turning brown or bruising, here's a method that works beautifully. First, grab a paper bag. This simple step makes a big difference. The paper helps absorb excess moisture while still allowing air to circulate. That balance is important because too much moisture encourages mold, but too little airflow can cause the apples to lose flavor and texture. Now, place your apples inside the bag. It's best to arrange them in a single layer so they're not pressing against each other. If you need to stack them, place a sheet of clean paper or paper towel between the layers. This extra padding helps prevent bumps and bruises when the apples shift around. Even small dents can speed up spoilage, so a little cushioning goes a long way. Here's a handy extra step you can tuck in: a small, food-safe moisture absorber, the kind often used in packaged snacks or dried foods. This helps control humidity inside the bag, keeping the apples crisp and reducing the chances of mold growth. Just make sure the absorber is meant for food storage and keep it away from direct contact with the apples. Once your apples are packed, fold the top of the paper bag down. Don't seal it completely. You want a little airflow so the apples can breathe. Trapping them in an airtight space can cause off flavors and speed up the breakdown process. Finally, place the bag in the crisper drawer of your refrigerator. This method can keep apples crisp and fresh anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, depending on the variety. Firmer apples like Fuji or Honeycrisp tend to last closer to 6 weeks, while softer ones might be best eaten within 3 to 4. By combining airflow, moisture control, and a cushion setup, You're giving your apples the perfect environment to stay fresh, so when you reach for 1 week later, it's still just as crisp and sweet as the day you brought it home. Our final method is for apples that have already been cut into slices. If you've ever sliced an apple and left it sitting out, you've probably seen how quickly it turns brown, and that's not just unappetizing, it's also wasteful. Luckily, there's a way to keep those slices fresh and usable for much longer. Start by preparing a large bowl big enough to hold all of your apple slices comfortably. Pour in about 1 liter of clean, cool water. Then, add 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice and give it a gentle stir. This solution is completely safe, and the lemon's natural acidity slows down the browning process without changing the flavor of the apple. Next, place your apple slices into the lemon water and let them soak for about 3 to 5 minutes. This gives the solution enough time to coat the surface of each slice, creating a natural barrier against oxidation. That's the chemical reaction that causes browning. After the soak, remove the apple slices and rinse them quickly under clean water. This step helps remove any excess lemon juice while still keeping the protective layer that prevents browning. Then, let the apples drain well. You can also pat them dry gently with a clean paper towel. Removing excess moisture is important because water left on the surface can lead to freezer burn or shorten the storage time. Once your slices are dry, arrange them in a single layer on a baking sheet or tray. Make sure there's a little space between each piece. This prevents them from sticking together later. Place the tray into your freezer for a quick flash freeze. This step allows each slice to freeze individually, which makes them easier to handle later. After the slices are frozen solid, transfer them into an airtight container or a freezer-safe bag. Press out as much air as you can before sealing to help prevent ice crystals from forming. With this method, your apple slices can be stored in the freezer for up to 6 months without losing their flavor. Before you put the container away, label it with the date. This way, you'll always know how long they've been stored, and you can use the oldest ones first. One thing to keep in mind: once frozen apples are thawed, they'll be softer in texture. That makes them perfect for cooking, baking, or blending into smoothies, but not quite the same as fresh, crisp slices for snacking. Still, it's a great way to save those leftover slices and avoid wasting perfectly good fruit. By taking just a few minutes to prepare and freeze them properly, you can enjoy your apples months later in pies, sauces, oatmeal, or any recipe that calls for sweet, tangy fruit. So whether you are picking the perfect apples at the store, keeping them fresh on your counter, storing them in the fridge for weeks, or saving leftover slices in the freezer, you now have everything you need to keep your apples crisp, flavorful, and ready whenever you are. The best part is these steps are simple to follow. Just a few small adjustments, such as keeping them dry, giving them the right amount of airflow, and protecting cut slices from browning, can make a big difference in how long your apples last. That means less waste, more flavor, and more money saved. Next time you bring apples home, try one of these methods and see for yourself how much fresher they stay. If you have your own little tips for storing apples, share them because you might inspire someone else to enjoy their apples for longer too. Remember, fresh apples are not just about taste. They're about enjoying every last bite right down to the very last one in the basket.